All right, so are you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. So today we're looking at XRP and, trying to answer this big question, is it a good investment for 2025?
Yeah, that's the question on everyone's mind, right?
Exactly. And to help us out, we've got this really interesting article here from the Motley Fool.
Ah, the Motley Fool.
Yeah.
Always a good source for financial insights.
Yeah, for sure. So they paint this picture of XRP as this, potential game changer.
Yeah, definitely potential is the key word there, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that jumps out immediately is this crazy price surge in 2024. Like
Hmm.
over 240%. Motley Fool even says it created a bunch of new millionaires.
Wow, 240%. That's quite a ride. It's no wonder people are taking notice.
Yeah, for sure. But like, is it all hype or is there something more substantial behind it?
Well, that's what we're here to figure out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like, what's the real world use of XRP? I mean, what problem is it actually trying to solve?
Okay, so unlike some cryptocurrencies that are mainly, for speculation, XRP actually has a very specific purpose. It's all about facilitating international money transfers.
So it's like a digital Venmo, but for sending money across borders.
Yeah, you could think of it that way, but on a much larger scale, we're talking about banks and financial institutions moving billions of dollars globally.
Okay, so that sounds like a pretty big market.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It's absolutely massive.
Yeah.
But you might be wondering, why would these institutions choose XRP over the systems they already have?
Yeah, good point. What's the advantage?
Okay, so think about traditional international money transfers. They often rely on this network called SWIFT.
Swift. Yeah, I've heard of that.
So SWIFT can be pretty clunky and expensive. Transactions can take days to process, and the fees can be outrageous, like $35 to $50 per transfer.
Ouch, that's a lot of money just to move your own money around.
Exactly. And that's where XRP comes in. It offers a way faster and more cost-effective solution.
Okay, I'm listening.
So with XRP, transactions can be settled in seconds, and the fees are often just a fraction of a cent.
Wow. Okay, so we're talking seconds versus days and pennies versus like a serious fee.
Exactly. And the potential market is enormous. The global payments industry is worth $2.4 trillion right now, and it's projected to grow to $3.1 trillion by 2028.
Okay, so there's definitely a lot of money flowing around there.
Oh yeah, and XRP is positioning itself to capture a significant chunk of that market.
Okay, but hold on a sec. If it's all sunshine and rainbows for XRP, why are they facing all these legal challenges? The article mentions something about the SEC, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's not all smooth sailing. The SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, they've been cracking down on certain parts of the crypto market.
Right, and XRP hasn't exactly been immune to that scrutiny.
Nope. In fact, Ripple Labs, the company behind XRP, was fined $125 million for selling XRP as unregistered securities.
Whoa. Okay, so that sounds pretty serious. Does that mean XRP is in trouble?
It's definitely something to be aware of. But here's the thing. The SEC ruling actually made a distinction between institutional sales, where XRP might be considered a security, and retail sales on secondary markets where it's not.
Okay, so there's a difference there. And why is that important?
Well, it provides some much-needed legal certainty for everyday investors like you and me.
Gotcha. So it's not like an outright ban on XRP, but there are still some gray areas.
Yeah, precisely. It's a complex situation, and the regulations are still evolving.
For sure. And speaking of regulations, we can't ignore the big political elephant in the room, Trump's SEC chair pick, Paul Atkins. What impact could he have on all this?
Ah, yes, the political landscape.
Yeah.
Well, Atkins is known to favor a more relaxed approach to crypto regulation, quite different from the current SEC head, Gary Gensler.
Interesting. So could this potentially be good news for XRP if regulations loosen up?
It's certainly possible. Less restrictive regulations could attract more institutional investors, potentially driving up demand and price.
Makes sense. But I'm also curious about something else. We've talked about XRP's utility and market potential, but how do you actually put a value on a cryptocurrency? I mean, traditional companies have earnings revenue, all those financial metrics. What about XRP?
That's a great question. And it gets to the heart of one of the biggest challenges in the crypto world, valuation. There's no standard playbook for valuing cryptocurrencies because they lack those traditional financial metrics.
So how do investors make sense of it all? Is it just guesswork?
Not exactly.
Hmm.
There are some emerging frameworks and metrics that analysts are starting to use.
Okay, like what?
Well, for example, they look at things like market capitalization, which gives you an idea of the total value of all the XRP in circulation.
Okay. And what else?
They also analyze trading volume, which
Yeah.
shows how much XRP is being bought and sold. Higher trading volume usually means a more liquid and active market.
So it's more about analyzing market trends and investor behavior than looking at like traditional financial statements.
In a way, yes. But it's also crucial to consider the fundamentals. Look at the team behind the project, their track record, the technology underpinning XRP, and its adoption rate among financial institutions.
So it's not just about the numbers. The story behind the cryptocurrency matters too.
Absolutely. You want to invest in projects that have a solid foundation, a clear vision, and a team that can execute.
Okay, I'm starting to get a better grasp of all this, but let's bring it back to our original question. Is XRP a good investment for 2025?
That's the question everyone wants answered, right? And
Yeah.
honestly, there's no easy answer. XRP has a lot going for it, a clear purpose, a growing market, and the potential for a more favorable regulatory environment. But it's crucial to weigh those positives against the inherent volatility of cryptocurrencies, the recent price surge, and the ongoing evolution of the regulatory landscape. It's a balancing act, and there's always risk involved.
So it sounds like a proceed with caution kind of situation.
I'd say that's a fair assessment.
Welcome back to our deep dive on XRP.
We've covered a lot of ground already.
Yeah, we have from that crazy price surge to, the role of XRP and international payments.
Oh, and let's not forget those regulatory hurdles. It's been quite a ride.
Absolutely. One thing that really stood out to me in that Motley Fool article was this whole idea of XRP having utility.
Ah, yes, utility. A crucial concept in the crypto world.
But what exactly does that mean, like, in the context of cryptocurrency? I mean, is it like a utility bill?
Uh-huh. No, not quite.
Mhm.
In simple terms, utility means that a cryptocurrency has real-world applications.
Okay, real-world applications, so it's actually useful for something.
Exactly. It has usefulness beyond just speculation. And that's a key differentiator for XRP. Its primary function is as a bridge currency for international payments. It's like it gives it kind of inherent value.
So it's not just about hoping the price goes up.
Not at all. There's an actual purpose behind XRP. Think of it like investing in a company. You'd look at their products, their market share, their revenue.
Right, it's like their fundamentals.
Exactly. And XRP, in a sense, has a product, that super efficient cross-border payment system we talked about.
Right, and a growing market too, as global commerce keeps expanding.
Precisely. But how does XRP's utility stack up against other cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, are they all created equal in terms of real-world uses?
That's where things get really interesting. The crypto world is incredibly diverse.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Each cryptocurrency has its own quirks, its own intended purpose.
Okay, so give me some examples.
Well, some like Bitcoin are primarily seen as stores of value, similar to digital gold.
Digital gold. I like that.
Others, like Ethereum, act as platforms for building decentralized applications, or dApps for short.
dApps. Now, those would sound interesting.
They are. Think of them like apps on your phone, but built on a blockchain.
Okay, so much more secure and transparent than regular apps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you see XRP's focus on cross-border payments really sets it apart.
Right, it's carving out a specific niche.
Yes, and that specialization can be a strength, especially when you consider the size of that global payments market.
Trillions of dollars.
Trillions. But let's be realistic for a second. Even with all this potential, regulation is still a big question mark.
It's the elephant in the room, right?
It is, and navigating this tricky regulatory landscape can be tough.
Yeah, for sure. So how can investors like you and me stay ahead of the game?
That's the million-dollar question. And unfortunately, there's no easy answer. The regulatory landscape is constantly evolving. What's true today might change tomorrow. But there are a few things we can do to stay informed and manage those risks.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give us some pro tips.
First and foremost, stay updated. Follow reputable sources. Read industry publications.
Okay, so do your homework.
Exactly. Knowledge is power, especially in the crypto world. Secondly, diversify your portfolio. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially in a volatile market like crypto. Spreading your investments across different asset classes can really help to reduce your overall risk.
Gotcha. So even if you're really bullish on XRP, don't go all in.
Precisely. It's about balance.
Yeah.
And finally, remember that investing in cryptocurrency is inherently speculative.
Right, high risk, high reward.
Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. And brace yourself for some price swings.
Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
It can be a roller coaster. But with the right knowledge and a level-headed approach, it can be an exciting one.
Those are some solid tips. You mentioned market capitalization earlier, and I have to admit some of those financial terms still make my head spin.
I get it. It's a different world from traditional finance.
Yeah, it is. So how can someone like me who's not, a Wall Street whiz, try to understand how a cryptocurrency like XRP is valued?
Okay, so one way to think about market capitalization, or market cap, is to imagine it as the total value of all the XRP coins out there.
Hmm.
It's like calculating the worth of a company by multiplying its share price by the total number of shares.
Okay, that makes sense. So a higher market cap generally means a more valuable cryptocurrency.
Generally, yes.
Yeah.
But market cap alone doesn't tell the whole story. You also have to consider things like trading volume.
Right. Which shows us how much XRP is actually changing hands.
Exactly. Higher trading volume usually means a more liquid market.
More activity, more buzz.
Precisely. It's like comparing a bustling city center to a sleepy suburb.
Oh, I like that analogy. Both might have value, but the dynamics are different.
Exactly. And of course, let's not forget about those fundamentals we discussed earlier. The team, the technology, the adoption rate. It's like judging a book by its cover versus actually reading it.
You need the full picture.
Absolutely.
All right.
But before we get too carried away with valuations and market dynamics, let's zoom out for a second.
Okay, back to the big picture.
You mentioned Ripple's partnerships with banks and financial institutions earlier. Can you give us some concrete examples of how XRP is actually being used in the real world?
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. It can't all be just theory, right?
Oh, not at all. One great example is MoneyGram.
MoneyGram, the remittance company.
The very same. They partnered with Ripple to use XRP for cross-border payments, specifically focusing on remittances to Mexico.
Interesting. And how did that work out for them?
Well, this partnership significantly reduced transaction times and costs for MoneyGram.
So it's actually making a tangible difference.
It is. It's a real-world demonstration of XRP's capabilities.
So XRP is not just some abstract concept. There are companies out there actually using it to move money around the globe.
Exactly. And it's not just. MoneyGram Ripple has partnered with a number of other financial institutions, including Santander Bank and SBI Holdings.
Wow, so they're really making inroads.
They are. They're exploring and implementing XRP-based solutions for all sorts of cross-border payment needs. These partnerships are showcasing the growing acceptance of XRP within the financial sector.
That's fascinating. So it seems like XRP has found a foothold.
It has. But could it compete with SWIFT on a larger scale? That's the question.
Yeah, Swift's been the dominant player for so long.
It has, and it's deeply entrenched. For XRP to really challenge that dominance, it would require widespread adoption by those major players. We need regulatory clarity and maybe even a shifting global geopolitical dynamics.
So it's a long shot, but not impossible.
Exactly. It's a classic David versus Goliath situation.
We love those underdog stories.
But the world of finance is constantly evolving, so it's a story worth watching.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into XRP.
It's been quite a journey exploring the past and present of XRP.
Yeah, it really has. But now it's time to look ahead. Gaze into that crystal ball and try to envision the future.
The future of XRP.
Oh.
Always an exciting topic.
When we were talking about Swift in the last segment, I couldn't help but think about the potential for XRP to really disrupt things.
Disrupt the entire global payments industry. It's a bold idea.
It is, but is it a realistic possibility? Could XRP actually replace Swift one day?
That's the dream for many XRP enthusiasts.
Yeah.
But the path to get there is a bit more complicated.
Yeah.
Swift has been around for decades.
Yeah, it's like the bedrock of international finance.
Exactly. It has this massive network and a lot of inertia behind it.
So it's not just about being faster and cheaper.
No, not at all.
Mm.
There are other factors at play. Think of it like this. Imagine a bustling city that's relied on horse-drawn carriages for transportation for years.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
And then suddenly automobiles come along. Faster, more efficient, potentially cheaper in the long run.
Right. The next big thing.
But you can't just swap out all the horses and carriages overnight. You need to build new infrastructure, train new drivers, convince people to adopt this new technology.
So it's a process. It takes time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's the same with XRP. To truly replace SWIFT, it needs more than just superior technology.
It's about the whole ecosystem, the network, the adoption.
Precisely. You need widespread adoption by banks and financial institutions, regulatory clarity, and a lot of coordination to make such a massive shift happen.
Okay, so it's a long road ahead for XRP, but let's say, for argument's sake, that it does gain some serious traction. What are some of the risks or roadblocks that could hinder its progress?
Well, one obvious risk is regulatory uncertainty. Governments around the world are still trying to figure out how to approach cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, it's like the Wild West out there.
And any major policy changes could definitely impact XRP's adoption and value.
So it's a bit of a waiting game to see how the regulatory landscape evolves.
To some extent, yes. And then there's the competition. The crypto space is constantly evolving.
New players popping up all the time.
What if a new cryptocurrency emerges with even faster or cheaper cross-border payment solutions?
It's like the tech world. Always a new gadget trying to outdo the last one.
Exactly. And we can't forget about those broader macroeconomic factors that can influence all markets, including crypto inflation, interest rates, geopolitical events. All of these can impact investor sentiment and create volatility.
So even if XRP is doing everything right, there are external forces that could throw a wrench in the works.
That's the nature of investing, especially in a market as dynamic as crypto. High potential rewards, but also high risks.
Well, that's definitely something to keep in mind. Okay, so after all this discussion, what's the bottom line? Is XRP a buy, a sell, or a hold?
The million-dollar question.
Hmm,
As we've discussed, XRP has a lot going for it. A clear purpose, a growing market, potential for a more favorable regulatory environment.
right. But it also faces some real challenges.
It does. Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to invest in XRP is a personal one.
Based on your own individual circumstances, risk tolerance, investment goals.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all answer. It requires careful consideration, a willingness to learn and adapt as the market evolves.
Well said. So it seems like we've reached the end of our deep dive into XRP. I hope everyone listening found this exploration insightful.
Me too. I always enjoy these conversations.
Absolutely. And remember, knowledge is power. The more you learn, the better equipped you'll be to make those informed decisions.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, thanks for joining us, and until next time, happy investing.